Hello, selectors, and welcome to the Life Burst Podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Tiffany. Bienvenidos. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, and we are going to start off today. We're going to be talking about the question, which is, how does tribal work in Wixoss?
Is it worth it? Is it good? Is it viable? Is it optimal? We're going to get into it today.
Yeah, and so, with that in mind, the question of the day, of the week even, is going to be, what's your favorite tribe in Wixoss?
If you have one.
Yeah.
Or what tribe would you like to try out that you haven't tried yet?
My favorite tribe is demons. I like demons.
Why?
I like the fact that they play with the graveyard. I like self-sacrificing stuff, and I also just like the vibe of demons because I'm an edgelord. So
I mean, as long as we're being honest with each other. Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know if I have a favorite tribe in Wixoss because I kind of just like playing everything.
Vehicles.
No.
Playground equipment.
Maybe blanket.
Blanket's an electronic.
Oh, it does count as electronic. I think I'd have to pick Terra beasts.
Terra beasts, yeah.
To be honest, because I like things that get big and swing hard and don't get taken off the board very easily.
Yeah, I agree. So. The buffaloes of the world.
The buffaloes.
So yeah, what is your favorite tribe in Wixoss? And it can be from before the Diva format too, because there's a lot of tribal in before Diva.
Yes.
But before we get full into the topic, hey Tiffany.
Yeah.
How was your Wixoss week?
It's pretty good. I don't know that we really did much playing at our locals.
We had a party.
Oh yeah, we did have a party. Oh yeah, and I actually did pretty well at that.
Yeah, you're tied with first place.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because sometimes when you play with five, it gets a little weird when you only play 3 games and the breakers get a little odd. So, but yeah, I ended up tying for first place with another Wixoss friend of ours, which was really great because they're a really good player. So
yeah, and it was a DJ Love It mirror match.
It was a DJ Love It. It was very close.
Yeah,
it was very close. If I made a single mistake, I was not going to win that.
True.
So, but yeah, my Wixoss week was good. We also opened up a box or two.
That's true. We're gonna see the results for that box, and if you guys are excited to watch, it's a different type of box opening. Of course, it's not just I open a box.
We wouldn't do that. We got to put our own spin on it. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you subscribe because that'll be coming out next week.
You can decide if you're Team Tiffany or Team Andrew.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
And so
how was yours?
It was good. So we both agreed that we wanted to try out because the ceremony's coming up, right? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to do a goodbye send off to 0-2's meta. Mm-hmm. So you played Love It and I played Bang.
Yeah, it is some of our favorite decks.
And with Bang, I did manage to get like an achievement. I won the game with 5 life cloth at the end.
Nice.
Against a Musica player, just because they didn't have really the right cards to interact with me, mm-hmm. and I blew them out with a very early game. Love It mix. That's the level 2 that vanishes something, gives something assassin, gives something lancer. It's a really good assist, and no one runs it. And the mm-hmm. reason why is it's because it's awkward as hell. But
it is.
The only place to really run it is to these Stompy-esque decks, mm-hmm. where you just got huge Signi and you're really pushing the inner charge envelope. And it really messed him up. Like, he had a Madoka clap for everything early in the game and then just could never recover.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was definitely, we had some interesting games.
That is the first time I've ever gotten achievement unlocked. My Buffalo was the swollest Buffalo.
How many?
28k.
Oh my god.
It was ridiculous. There's no reason to grow a Buffalo over 20k.
Well, but especially since it lasts until end of turn. Yeah. Like, how do you even deal with that even?
It is really funny to grow a Buffalo huge, right? Because then everyone's like, what are these? And I'm like, 28, 20, and 17. And they're like, oh my god, that's huge. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You have the lanes full, and they don't have Lancer, so it's fine. Like, it's just funny to see how scared people are of these giant numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that you could really deal with that is when they start swinging, you just hope for a Falcolor.
Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is the giant... I have said it before, and I'll say it again. Big numbers only matter on your opponent's turn, not on your turn. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes it matters on your turn. You're doing team buffing, or you're doing Lancer. But most of the time, you're just opening a lane and attacking through the open lane, and it doesn't matter if that Signi has 28,000 power or 1,000 power. It still deals a life cloth damage. So the number matters a lot on your opponent's turn. Not so much on yours.
Not so much on yours, yeah. That makes sense.
But no, it was fun. It was a good send-off for Bang. I was very excited to see things come together. I've learned a lesson, which is if you're going to take a Bang Dream Team into the next one, Madoka Clap was a lot of fun. Don't run Madoka, run Tamago. Tamago's just got a little bit of a cheaper enter cost, and you want the draw a little bit more than Madoka's Clap's ability to just shut down the field.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
Yeah, and you finished out with Love It, and it was a pretty standard Love It build. I think the only real tech that you used was...
I think we put in Silent Assassin into that one.
A Silent Assassin and Osagetsune to also trigger the Silent Assassin by making your opponents...
Yeah, if you needed it. Bigger. It actually didn't happen in my games, because I think we only had one Osagetsune.
Yeah, Ogatsugetsune.
Ogatsugetsune. So it didn't really come up in my games, but the Silent Assassin did save my butt. Several times. So it was well worth it, and I was happy to play the deck.
You were able to late game enter starve some people because you were Silent Assassinating, and that deprived them of enter before the attack phase. And that did it.
Yeah, that did it. So, shall we get into Tribal?
Yes. So we've been getting a lot of comments where people are asking specifically about angels.
Yes.
And
I feel very confused.
I feel terrible every time I try to, because I'm trying my best, right? And I get that people want viable sometimes and not optimal. And it's tough for me to come back and be like, yeah, it's totally a good deck. You should run it. Because it is an okay deck. Right now it is okay. Before this set that came out, set 3, it was not a good deck. And you should not run it. But it's okay now. And that's because Tribal's weird. It's super interesting, and everyone wants to play Tribal because Tribal's cool. I just said I love demons. Like I want to play Demon Tribal. In set 4, hardcore gonna play Demon Tribal with Devil's Carnival. But you get these cool and interesting things like Heaven's Door right now, right?
Is that out now?
Yeah, that was out in set 2.
Oh, gotcha.
And in the anime. Spoilers.
One day we'll make a podcast about the anime. Let us know in the comments if that's something you would like to see.
But it's wacky and fun, and it gives you deck direction without having to really ask much of yourself. So
that's true too.
It's cool, and winning with angels is flavorful, right? Like it's got a lot going for it that people want. And the question is it good right now? And I think the answer is it's viable right now.
Yeah, I feel a little bit confused by it because I know that in set 2, there weren't a whole lot of cards that were like, if you have X or more angels on the field, then you get this. And it kind of felt like people were running an angel tribal without any sort of support. It was more just like a flavor choice.
Yeah.
So, totally. And I'm caveating everything I'm saying with... I have not played a tribal angel deck because I don't understand. So please feel free to add to this conversation in the comment section down below. But it feels like now in set 3, there might be a couple other cards that do actually support an angel tribal. And I just have to wonder if that little bit of support makes it worth being your main deck.
It makes it viable, not optimal, I think is the answer.
Okay.
So we're gonna phrase this one a little differently than our normal podcasts. I've played a lot of Tribal in Magic the Gathering. And so I'm going to be leaning on my Tribal experience with Magic the Gathering. Tiffany, you have not played a ton of Magic the Gathering, so you're not really doing Tribal. Like when you played Magic the Gathering, you mostly played aggro combo decks.
Yeah, I was red-blue, and I really enjoyed, Kiln Fiend, which is, literally eons ago in the Magic the Gathering universe. So it really wasn't so much about Tribal as it was about picking uniform interactions.
Yeah.
So
literally all the listeners are like, oh, that's why she likes Card Jockey now. It's like very similar.
It's very similar.
So I played a lot of Tribal. And I've always enjoyed played goblins a lot. I played merfolk a lot. I didn't top, but I got very, very close, top 16 in a GP once with merfolk. One of my favorite ones that I did standard merfolk out of nowhere and confused a lot of people and still managed to do well. But this is all to say that I think tribal has certain requirements that most people don't get, right? And I think the important thing to talk when we talk about tribal is we should, with Wixoss, something that's different than with Magic the Gathering is Magic the Gathering, you have 60 cards in your deck, and you stuff as many tribal stuff in it, and when you draw tribal stuff, they affect tribes, right? That can also exist in Wixoss. You've got a 40-card main deck.
Yeah.
But you can't tutor a tribal lord or something else.
What does tutor mean?
Tutor means getting something directly from your deck. So the only way that you can tutor in Wixoss right now is...
So that would be like Good Dig?
Go to the top.
Oh, go to the top.
Yeah.
Or something like, what was it? There's that red angel that does it as well. Kagutsuchi?
Yeah, that can tutor from your...
Kagutsi?
That can get from your graveyard, so it's recursion, but yeah.
Oh, okay, recursion.
It's fine. These are all stupid names for things. And that's the funny thing, too, is like in this game, there's so many Yu-Gi-Oh! Main players and so many Y. Schwartz main players that like you just hear a bunch of different names pop up. Salvage is another one that people often say for over recursion. Anyways, this is all to say that you can't really trust your main deck, right? The only way that you can get guaranteed always have a tribe on the top of your library, right, or the top of your deck, is to pack your main deck with nothing but that tribe.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good way to guarantee, like I was saying, it's a good way to guarantee uniform interactions to go off, because tribals will tend to want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
But the problem is you are limiting your card pool, which right now I think in Wixoss we have a 580 some card pool. To how much is in the Angels right now? It says it, right?
34.
So you are drastically reducing your pool, right? And I think anyone who plays Sandbaka a lot will say, yeah, that affects things, right? Like the Sandbaka deck is
with the virtual tribal.
Yeah, it's definitely virtual tribal if you want to talk about it. It's just aggro virtual tribal. And so there is a caveat to this. You also have an Elrig deck. And the Elrig deck sometimes can interact with tribal as well. This happened a lot in the All-Star format, right?
Okay.
Because there's certain Elrigs had a tribe that was sort of associated with them, and like you said, had similar game plans to what they wanted to do, right? I think Mel had cooking Signi. Someone can check me on that in the comments. But I think it's a thing, right?
That's so fun.
Yeah. So you have an Elrig deck that affects it, right? And so I'm going to try to trademark something here, and you guys can start using it if you'd like. I'd like to call things major tribal or minor tribal.
Okay.
And minor tribal is if it's a main card that affects tribal stuff, then it's minor tribal. You have less control over when you pull the trigger on those things because you have less chance to draw it.
Right.
However,
it is a limited deck.
Right. Your Elrig deck, on the other hand, always there. So you have control over those Signi all the time because you always have access to it. That would be major tribal support.
Control over your Lyrigs.
Yeah. Or your pieces, right?
Yeah.
We've got, for example...
Yeah, those are constants in the deck.
Heaven's Door is a piece that talks about angels.
Yes.
And Toko is a Elrig that talks about virtuals.
Oh, so yeah, those would be your two givens in an angel tribal then.
Angel tribal or virtual tribal. Right now, if we were to say, what are the major tribes and minor tribes of Wixoss, we could easily say angels is a major tribe, and virtuals is a major tribe because Toko exists, right, and talks specifically about virtuals. We could probably say what are the minor tribes, and I think. Lapis Lazuli is jewel
tribal.
So there's some jewel tribal stuff.
There's element.
There
natural
is
elements.
some natural element stuff.
Labyrinth.
I think natural elements are technically atom signies.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
There's there's nothing really labyrinth oriented. They're nothing really talking about other labyrinth Signi. So they have a theme, but they're not tribal.
So are you saying
There's
that...
Terra Beasts is another one.
Yes, and we've actually had really good support for
Right.
Terra Beasts, especially in decks like... I want to say Harana could do well in it, because a lot of the Terra Beasts are red, although you have like variations with other ones.
Our Dream Team Bang that we've been piloting has definitely uses Terra Beasts.
Yeah, it uses green and red, with the main Terra Beast being Buffalo, which gives you the most support for Terra Beasts on the back end of things.
And there's some support for Brave, which actually is now that I'm thinking about it, it's a major tribal. It's not good, but it's a major tribal because there's a new piece that came out that affects Braves.
Gotcha.
And then there is the last one's Demons, which I don't think is super great right now, but will be good in the future. But that's a minor support because there's only Signis that talk about demons.
So in your thought, would you say that a major tribal is something where you can find cards that directly state that it interacts with Signis of that tribal, and then minors don't necessarily have that support?
No. Minors have support in their card pool for their tribal. Like specifically calls out if you do something with a Jewel Signi. But it needs to be in a main deck.
Okay.
If it's the L-Rig deck that's calling it out, aka you can consistently pull that card out all the time to enact your tribal game plan.
Oh, that's when.
Then that's a major tribe.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Right? Because that's one of the things that's attractive about Angels, is the fact that you can always use Heaven's Door if you use a certain amount of Angels.
Right. Which, with a card pool of 34, it wouldn't be impossible to do.
No.
Especially because, I'm looking at the card lists right now. There's actually quite a few in here that are popular choices even in non-tribal decks. Like, we play a lot of these cards. Specifically Arquin and Haniel, you'll see that in a ton of decks.
Yep.
So if you're making a tribal, probably not a bad move to include those, especially if you're running any sort of white. I know that, Atalanta is also very popular.
Yeah, but Atalanta has anti-tribal support. If you
it's more
read the
rainbow.
card,
That's
no.
right.
It says specifically, if you when you use it's the thing,
Different classes. That's right.
So it's the one angel that's actually somewhat good, but also can't be used in that tribe.
Right. And then let me get to the next page of this list. And then in the new set we had Iris, which has interactions with angels, Zeusius, and Aglaia.
Yeah.
So
there
are options for you, especially in the white. White seems to be strong as well as red.
Right, and that's something that you should look at. It's actually, you hit right on it. Is this card good in only angels, or is this card generically good? And if the answer is this card's generically good, then that means it'll bode well for that tribe.
Yeah.
You have some good angels, right? Katasuchi is a good angel. It's just also a good card.
Yeah.
And Arquin is a great card, and Haniel is awesome.
There's also Mars included in this list, which I know is popular amongst a lot of players.
Yeah, mostly Love-It players, I
Mostly
think.
Love-It players, I would say. Or the early forms of Harana, this was also pretty popular to have in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Sita is got a good life burst.
Sita's got a good life burst. Not to mention, I don't know if there's any multis in here. I don't think so.
There's no multis, and that's actually a problem.
Okay, let's talk about that.
There's no multis, right? Like that's a thing that a lot of decks need in order to balance their colors as multis.
So otherwise, that would end up diluting your card pool of angels.
It becomes harder to make it work, right? Mm-hmm. Multis are good cards. I've heard some people be surprised that multis show up in consistent numbers in decks, but the answer is they're solid level 1. There's not a ton of good level 1s that you can fill out with decks right now. It's 5,000, which means that it's tough. You're not getting Remeld on them.
Aren't some of them level 2 as well?
Yeah, there's level 2s as well.
Yeah.
Which are 10,000 and can't. Hello, Train.
Hey, Train. Pause for Train.
Pause for Train.
Choo choo.
That's it saying hello back.
Yeah, it's saying I'm here too. But aside from just I mean, you want to give yourself as much like enter support as possible, especially if you're running enter hungry decks. So when you have something that is a vanilla multi with a decent amount of power, why wouldn't you have 2 enter for the price of 1?
Right, and
it just is that it makes so much sense.
For example, the Sandbaka deck, which is a virtual tribal deck, one of the reasons why it still can fire right now is because in my version of the deck, I'm running 2 of the level 2 multicolors, and I'm running 4 of the level 1 multicolors. It's just a solid stat line that fills out those gaps while maintaining the numbers you need in order to be a tribal number. And I'm going to give you guys a really, really easy number to work with now.
All
28.
Break it down.
28.
28 what?
You need 28 minimum. Do not go lower than this number. Of a tribe to really have major tribe support in your deck, to constantly hit it.
And we're talking about major tribe support, not just minor tribe support.
Any tribe support.
Okay.
This is using the hypogeometric calculator, which is an amazing tool that you can use for card games.
That sounds like it should be a card.
Yeah, right.
With some of the names that we've got.
You're right. And it could be like blanket. It could be a electronic Signi. This tool is basically, I'm not going to go deep into the formula, but it basically says how many cards are you going to draw this game? How many things are you looking to hit for a certain effect? This is how many you need to run in your deck in order to successfully do that. And the answer is 28.
Okay.
If you want to reliably, off the top, always hit a thing that does something where you need certain amount in your graveyard to set, like usually the number is 7 in your graveyard, 5 on the top of your library, or 3 on the top of your deck, right? These are the numbers that Wixoss often uses. Then 28 is the number you need. Again, that's minimum. So you might want to go higher than that. You might want to be 30, 32 is safe number, right? And you got to remember that 4 guards are going in your deck no matter what. So you're already starting at a disadvantage. Instead of a 40 card deck, you are starting at
36.
36. And
with,
if you're putting
with your guards.
Right, and if you're putting any number of spells in that, your number's going lower as well. So you just need to recognize that that's the number you need to hit in order to do stuff. If you are unreliably wanting to add some amount of tribal support into your deck, the number is 12 to 14. In Bang specifically, right? I run 12 Terra Beasts, and I hit the Terra Beast combo that I need to hit every game, consistently. But it involves me as a player knowing when to not enter certain cards or play certain cards and hold them until my level 3 when I get a Buffalo.
There's a little extra thought put into it.
Right. I'm also running blue in that deck, so I have more card draw, so I can use a smaller number because I'll see more cards. Those are the 2 numbers that you need to consider when you're doing a tribal in your deck. Those are your cheaty numbers. As long as you're following those numbers, at least you should be good. Now, you might be tempted to go lower than 28, but you got to remember, if you really are trying to be a tribal deck, you cannot go lower than that. The reason that I can do 12 in the Bang deck is because I do not care if I don't hit that combo either.
Yeah, it's not vital to the success of your deck.
Right.
And
Bang
it
giving
was
Lancer
sort of
is
on
vital.
purpose. Yeah.
Correct.
And you can give Lancer to
Green.
Any green.
Green, any green level 3. That's why the top
Level
end
2 or less.
is no. That's for, you're talking about Senga, Lancer, Ariel.
Oh yeah,
I'm
that's
talking about
right,
Bang. This
sorry.
one. Anyways, and that's a very important thing to know, because with the ceremony coming up,
That messed me up a lot.
you got to make sure that your opponent is not putting Lancer on a level 3 when they bounce it back to their hand and put it back out. Anyways, side tangent aside. That's the numbers that you're looking to hit in order to do things consistently. While we're talking, since we're now done with the nuts and bolts numbers, we should talk about the tribes.
Okay.
Because there's a reason why, if you ask me, would you rather play Angels or would you rather play Terra Beasts? I would say Terra Beasts.
Why is that?
Even though Terra Beasts are a minor tribe and have no Elric support whatsoever. The reason is because I think the Terra Beast cards, on a whole, are just better than the Angel cards.
Okay.
One of the reasons is Terra Beasts are heavily located in 2 colors, meaning that the card pool, while smaller, is actually larger because they
it's a stronger presence.
They hit a very specific area more.
Quality over quantity.
One of the problems with angels is that angels are split into two camps. You are either in white red or you are in blue green black. And because of that, it's a little separated. White red has the best lane opening, right? With things like Iris, and has the best overall cards, right? Because it's got Hanels, it's got the Zeusius, I think is his name is.
Zeusius.
And it's got things like Kataguchi and
Hold on, we gotta say this right.
Yeah.
Kagutsuchi.
Yeah, Kagutsuchi.
Kagutsuchi.
It also has it just has some of the best normal, right? Haniel also is another one. However, green, black, blue play nicely with each other because they like to put things in. They're the mill colors, and they also like to see angels in your trash. And Heaven's Door specifically works with angels in your trash.
Yes.
So it's easier to pull off those effects.
It does seem like a lot of the angel effects, like they mention angels, but the effects are still very similar to the major and minor themes of each color. So for instance, green still energizes, but it's dependent on angels, and things like Azrael it's specific to angels, but it puts in your trash and it's black, which black likes to do. So would you say that...
And blue complements that with draw discard effects,
right,
like with Gagiel.
So they're complementary, but they're not like specifically like uniform.
Correct.
So you have a more varied color pool in angels and a more varied you have a little bit more flexibility in how you want to set up your deck.
What white red angels wants to be aggro, whereas blue black green angels wants to be mid-range and wants to have the game go a little longer and run synergy based with Amabi and the black one that escapes me, the black level 3 that escapes me right now. I can't remember what it's called.
Valkyrie?
Yeah, Valkyrie, that's it. But Terra Beasts, on the other hand, are green-red mostly, right? And they have a very specific gimmick that they pull off pretty well, which is they pump each other up, and they want to see their numbers be high, right? They're the team pump tribe. And when you do team pump tribe stuff, like, for example, you've got Buffalo is really the best example. There's a lot of good cards in it, too. You've got multicolored support in your red. Both of your red greens are Terra Beasts, which is awesome.
That makes it very easy to build.
And then you have stuff like Osaga Getsune is a Terra Beast, which also directly works with Fennec or Buffalo for their effects that you're looking for. Hamster is another one that wants to be buffed. So there's a level 1 here. What's that one called?
Hayakoko. Hold on.
That's the green one?
Hyakoko.
Sure. This is a level 1 that needs to be a certain power in order to start energizing you.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
I freaking love that art.
There's a lot of good Terra Beasts that are in that specific color, and they all work really well with each other.
As I'm reviewing this list, I also think it's important to point out that Terra Beast and Aquatic Beast are two different tribes.
Yes, that's true.
So if something says it interacts with a Terra Beast, it means Terra Beast. You can't use it for Aquatic Beasts.
Right. And Terra Beasts sometimes like to see energizing happening, which is a tenet in green. So it's not hard to pull off what Terra Beasts want to do in the colors because they're all very synergistic to each other. And they're already very aggressive. So all of the things you need are there. It just needs more critical mass, and it needs some amount of Elrig support to become a very good tribe.
So Elrigs that help to pump your creatures, or Elrigs that energize and then interact with your green beasts, are good things to have.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
and that's why I don't mind running them in Bang, and people are surprised when they see me running a Terra Beast package. And I clarify, this is not a Terra Beast deck. This is a Terra Beast package.
right. Or a dream team that would have, what's that wolf card that pumps up things by 5?
Wolf Mirage.
Wolf Mirage.
Yeah.
So even stuff like that, if you wanted that in a dream team.
Well, with our sample decks that we made, right? We use a Terra Beast package in Wolf level 3 because Wolf level 3 has a team pump ability, and it also has an Enter Charge ability, and both of those things are also things that Terra Beasts like.
Yep.
So even though, that's actually really clever. Even though you're not saying something's directly correlating to the tribe by literally naming out the tribe in the Elrig deck, Terra Beasts interact with the Elrig deck, which theoretically you could say, well, that kind of makes the major tribal.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying about like picking uniform interactions, because if you don't have a whole lot of tribal support, you can give yourself a specific interaction support,
right,
which will then help to by extension support your tribal choices, which is why I was originally very confused with the angels, because it seemed like a lot of their abilities were more varied and Terror Beasts were a little bit more uniform. But that's just my hot take. You can feel free to give me your opinion in the comments below.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hot take at all. I think that's pretty accurate. And while we're on the topic of what do certain things do, right? I got a list of I think most of the Terror Beasts right now here, and I can just quickly go down, or not Terror Beasts, excuse me.
Some of the tribes, yeah.
Just quickly go down stuff they do.
Yeah.
Angel is either very aggressive and just they want to beat face, or they want to see things in the trash and do kind of synergistic things.
Those would be your best options, really.
Yeah. I think that's their identity is currently a little torn because Akino and Hirana in the anime like angels, and it's a cool gimmick, so you see some of that more aggressive no limit specifically stuff existing in their identity.
It's also reflected in the character designs for No Limit, because when they all grow they get wings.
Yep, that's true.
Oh, we love that.
There's Brave. Brave, generally speaking, is your knights. Lancelot is a Brave, for example.
I think Athena's a Brave too. She's not a very popular choice, but just as an example.
They are aggressive, and they do aggro-y things. So they want to attack and they want to die in battle, basically. That's their gimmick.
Sorry, correction. Athena is an angel type. My bad.
Demons like to be sacrificed or like to pop in and out of the trash. Armed, I don't really know much about yet. Trickster, I don't know much about yet. Venom, I don't know much about yet. Cosmos.
There's also, just hold on. Going back to armed, yeah, there's armed, but there's also lightly armed and heavy armed.
Right,
so
those are level 1, level 2s.
Oh, gotcha.
So
That's cool.
those are armed.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, you can kind of figure out what the class they are based on what their name is. Blessed, for example, Blessed Angel usually means white angel.
White angel, doomed angel is black.
Black angel. Yep.
Gotcha.
So there's Cosmos. Cosmos have a lot of interaction off the top of your deck. They want you to basically filter and stack the top of your deck so that way you can show level 1s in order for it to do positive effects. Jewel has kind of an interesting thing where I think Lapis Lazuli, thank you. When it dies, you can get jewels from your trash and put them into play, or jewels from your hand. I can't remember, but they replace themselves, I think, is their gimmick.
They also have some of the prettiest card art.
Right. Atoms are going to be a big thing in the future. There's atomic ducks. I can't remember how to pronounce
Atomic ducks?
Yeah, atomic ducks. But it's not ducks. It's Deuce. Deuce Maxima.
Duex?
Yeah, Duex or whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So DMX.
Yeah. There's that version. Let me see here. Plant usually does stuff with enter charging. Labyrinth's whole gimmick is switching around Signi lanes.
Basically, like Confusion, which is very on flavor for that kind of name.
Electronics often deal with spells. Virtual is, I don't know, they don't really have a gimmick. Toko is their gimmick.
Do they ever get support in the future? Let's hold out some hope for those.
It's set 9 in Japan, and they don't get support yet, so it's going to be a little while. Yeah, I just wanted to run through a couple quick things that you should keep a lookout for. So, for example, a card might not be good right now, but it might become better later once you realize, oh, that actually works well with their gimmick, but it just needs a critical mass of cards to be good.
Yeah, and we say this a lot. It's always good to kind of look ahead because, you know, we're going to be getting the same cards in the American market. It's just a matter of time, really. So there's nothing wrong with looking ahead and being like, okay, maybe I can like half build this deck until I wait for some of the other cards.
Yeah, I've been doing that with demons since set 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, the Japanese meta is not always indicative to what's going to happen. But it's
yeah, all I'm saying is that
it's a good light post.
The cards will be the same. How players play with them is up for, you know, interpretation, really. So
those are the gimmicks of specifically the types, and we talked briefly about this, but in All-Star there was more things that directly interacted with Signi types.
Yeah, I thought that green was really big and angels were really big.
Angels
well,
had
green was
some
a big
stuff,
color,
yeah.
but angels had some stuff.
Trust me, every deck at some point had some tribe that was good in it specifically. You could probably validate most things by also using their tribe support, because tribe support was very pushed in early pre-English metagame. Now, that's not to say that that's not going to happen again. You know, like that's worn game design for them, but bear in mind that they still print things to try to have a direct impact on the All-Star format, which is not an English thing, but it's a Japanese thing, and so we get splashes of that, right? So, for example, one of the things they did was add more coin stuff.
Oh,
the
yeah.
coin stuff is new for the English market, right, when we get to it, but it was already a very treaded game design in Japan, and they did it specifically to add more support to All-Star stuff. So that's not to say that we won't see some push Signi tribal stuff in the future.
It does seem like there's going to be some. I mean, we've already seen support start getting reached out with certain cards coming out, so I wouldn't say it's definitely not a pipe dream.
Super piecemealed right now, but
Yeah.
it exists. This is all to say that if you were going to play, you're going to play a tribal deck right now. You can. It is, I think, viable now. Angels, I believe, are viable. I wouldn't have played them last set, but I
No.
think Iris does a lot to help out opening up support by opening lanes. And I think Zeusius is an actual payoff for the tribe, because it just gives you, it's like I said, angels are super spread out, but Zeusius's ability allows you to rise on top of a Signi, and then it gets different abilities based on what color it's rised on top of, and you can pull things out of your trash, something that angels like, and you can put it under it so it gets more abilities, right? You can basically Voltron it. And that means Zeusius is an actual payoff in the deck. Like, Heaven's Door was an okay payoff. It wasn't amazing. Zeusius is a good payoff. It gets Shadow on attack phase, which is crazy. That's not normal.
So your opponent can't even respond to it.
Right. They can't remove it with their assists. And if they get life bursts, and it's like Signi life bursts, which most life bursts are, a Wixoss podcast, then it just dodges it. It's great. It's a very good payoff.
Yeah.
And it takes good payoffs. Buffalo is a good payoff. That's one of the reasons why I say you might consider running Terra Beasts, even though Terra Beasts themselves are less powerful.
I mean, 28k is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, you can basically double Musica. What is it? Musica's level 2, and that gives something negative 10,000 and negative 15,000. And when you got 28k, you're like, I'm still killing whatever Signi's.
Yeah, it would take a boatload of effort, and probably most of the things that give minuses in your deck to try and remove
Yeah,
that.
totally, 100%. So, I think Angels is more viable now. I don't think it's good, but I think it's viable. I think Terror Beasts are viable. I think they're optimal if you play them in low numbers, like a Terra Beast package, but not
as your main driving force of your deck.
Right, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's some Terra Beasts that I think are traps, like oh god, what's it called? Sabretooth, the new Saber Tiger Signi that just came out for Terra Beast. Because it's asking you to pay 3 enter to vanish something, and then you just look at it and you're like, oh, I could just run any green deck and it will trigger Osa Getsune, and that's the same effect for less, kind of thing. Like, it's just, I think it's a trap because it's cool. It's got multicolored in it, right? It's red and green. Ooh. And it's like, so it's dripping of identity and personality, and you want to play it. I just think it's not that good of a card once you get past that effect.
I think that's a fair evaluation.
In Magic the Gathering, we have this, in Limited, we talk about the multicolor effect, where people will often take multicolored cards just because they're like, it's clearly going to be the core of a deck in those colors because it's those colors' identities specifically. And you're like, yeah, but it's a bad card. And so I think that's a bad card. So I wouldn't play that in my Terra Beast deck.
Sure.
Flopsy plus Buffalo, fantastic.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
And we're going to talk about Buffalo for a second. Buffalo is a terrible 3-card combo. Amazing 2-card combo. You have to play cards that specifically combo with it with just 2. Osa Getsune plus Buffalo works. Fennec plus Buffalo works. It's very complicated. I'm not going to go into exactly why, but if you read the card, you can see there's a difference between power and base power. That's very important when talking about Buffalo. Fennec will attack for a 2,000 with just Buffalo out. So those cards are good together. There's also the monkey. It's got a new name, Tengu something or other.
Formerly known as proboscis monkey in the Japanese format.
Tengu plus Buffalo is a good combo because it triggers Tengu. So that's what those are the cards that you want to pull with Buffalo in order to make your stuff work out. You pulled it up. What is it?
Tengu Zaru.
Because Buffalo will power up Tengu, and then Tengu won't be able to be downed.
Yeah.
So you'll basically, if you see a Madoka clap on the other side of the battlefield, you can be like, haha.
Or a Folklore, like, that's cute.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, that's what I think is good in those colors. If you're going to talk about virtual, Reina is the core of a virtual deck. Toko also interacts with it well, so those are your cores, right? Reina needs a specific card to trigger out of it. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Fuyuki is the name of it.
That sounds familiar.
And then outside of that, you've got multicolored cards that are virtual, and you've got Melissa, who's fantastic in virtual tribals.
We do love Melissa.
And you have some other good level 2s that are just average, that have good life bursts. That's the route you want to go with that. And you also want to remember that virtual tribal is a aggro deck. So if you're trying to do mid-range, you aren't doing well, I think. I think you need to specifically go, I open lanes and I attack. That's what my deck does.
Yeah. I mean, always having a concise idea for your deck is definitely the way to go, which is why we're talking about tribal, because sometimes that doesn't always happen. For example, you gave this example earlier with your Terra Beast package. It's not the main theme of your deck, but it helps. And with Angels, it can get a little complicated. It might not be as concise as you want it to be. So that's kind of our thoughts on tribal, I think.
Yeah, you're a non-tribal player, and this is your first real deep dive into tribal. Did you learn something from this?
Well, yeah, I thought that the idea of major tribal and minor tribal was interesting, and also looking through some of the lists, especially going through the Angels list. And the reason why we went so in depth with that is because a lot of players wanted to play that, is kind of seeing that sometimes tribal's better with color interaction, with the tribal being the flavor. So you can throw certain cards in there that support that.
Yeah.
But also keeping in mind that that sometimes the color interactions are just as important as having a full tribal deck.
Yeah, for example, I think some people have said, well, why don't you run Angel Card Jockey? I think that's an interesting question. Why not run Angel Card Jockey? It has red and white, which is an aggressive Angel thing, and Card Jockey is aggressive. And it has it has green, which doesn't have a lot of angels, but the angels can help with card jockey because card jockey is ener starved usually, and green angels get energy. And the reason is pretty simple. Angels aren't good at opening lanes.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to run an aggro deck that opens lanes and you're not running any way to open lanes unless you put in spells, which will then dilute how many angels you have, it's not a good recipe, right?
Yeah, I'm looking through that, and it does appear that now there are some aggressive ones, but it's just not a wide enough thing to get all those hits in that you need to play the game,
Right.
or win the game.
And then if you were to say, well, why can't you run No Limit instead? You don't get green, like, and the blue angels are not super great with the white and red angels because blue doesn't really add any aggression to your angels. And the answer to that would be, yeah, you should play that one. And the reason you should play that one is because there's a lot of Elrig deck support with opening lanes in Hirana. And your Akino Bye-Byes do it. Your Akino line in general. And your Ray level 2 can also open up lanes.
So you're saying that that's where you're getting your support instead, is through your Elrig deck, not necessarily your Signis.
Yeah, you're recognizing correctly that Angel's weakness is that they don't open up lanes well, and you're supplementing it with your Elrig deck. Because then you don't need to worry about packing your main deck with ways to open up lanes if your Elrig deck does it. And that's one of the reasons why if you're going to play blue-black Angels, right, you should play Musica. You should play some form of Diagram. Because Musica's assists open up lanes. Sanga's assists open up lanes. So if you're playing like Madoka, for example, might actually be pretty good. Madoka doesn't have a ton of discard support in Angels. They discard themselves. They don't discard your opponents.
So you're helping to fill out your trash, really.
Yeah, so you're doing it to fill out your trash. So maybe Musica is the better center. But you can still, there's Madokas that open up lanes and there's Sangas that open up lanes. And giving your Angels Lancers twice is another way to quote unquote open up lanes. You're dealing damage with it, right? Same thing with No Limit. No Limit has a team piece that deals damage. And No Limit's once a game ability with Hirana deals damage. So you don't absolutely need all of your Signis to open up lanes in those decks because you're letting your Elrig deck do it for you.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, there's definitely a big balance to go. There's a balancing act when it comes to tribal, and it definitely has to do with card pool. It has to do with color interaction. It's got to do with the abilities that certain cards have. It's got to do with what your Elrigs do and how they can support that. And I think that breaking down the numbers earlier with you're going to want at least 28. That's your scale right there. That's how you're going to balance everything out earlier.
Here's a really great way to decide whether or not you think a tribe is good. Sit down, take all of the tribe. You can go on the card list, right? That's what we're literally scrolling on right now is the We Cross card list on
Takara
Tomi's website. Go on it, type up the Angels or whatever you're looking at, the tribes type. It's got a drop down menu that you can click on and find the tribe type. Click enter, see how many cards are in there. Then start just making a deck with it, right? Just being like, all right, cool. I'm starting an Angels deck. I want it to be an aggressive Angels. Okay, I've got Haniel. I've got Katasuchi. I've got Arquin. Cool. I've got Zeusius and I've got Iris. Right?
Yeah, those are good starting blocks.
You put them all down, right? And then you go, okay, these are clearly the tier 1 ones. Now I have to go a tier lower. This card's okay, this card's okay, this card's okay. Okay, what does that leave me with? Okay, trash ones. The ones that are not super great, but they're filler. All right, I fill this, right? The number, if you're filling the deck with a lot of stuff to fill it to hit that quota, that means the deck's not good. But if you can basically rattle off a bunch of things you want, and then you're like, oh, I only need to fill 5 or 6 slots. That's a good tribe.
Yeah. Cool. I learned a lot, actually, because, again, I was coming into this from, like, a layman's perspective, like somebody that has not played Tribal in Wixoss, has not, tried to create a tribal deck and was just like, why is everybody always talking about angels? I don't understand.
You kind of came at it completely blind, which is interesting because you got the first interaction you had with tribal was when people started playing it with you at the locals, right? And you beat them.
Yeah.
And you were like, what is the gimmick that you guys are doing?
Well, also, like, they told me after that they were playing a Tribal Angels deck, and I was like, I didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't seem all that important to your gameplay, which is why I was... And I'm really not trying to be, like, really critical of it.
It's a viable
I
versus
just didn't
optimal
get
argument,
it.
right?
I just didn't get it.
It's
I
a
didn't
viable
get the
versus
appeal.
optimal argument.
Yeah.
Like,
so.
you're playing with subpar Signis, and hopefully together these subpar Signis do something better, right? That they are greater than the sum of their parts.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't do that, then an optimal mindset, you'd look at that and you'd be like, well, why are you playing that deck?
Yeah, that's why I was confused. But I actually learned a lot from this podcast. I hope you guys learned a lot too. Let me know in the comment section down below how you've made tribal work for you. What's your favorite tribe? You know, I had a lot of questions, and I'm seeking answers in a conversation. So let me know.
Yeah, and again, like we said, this is not to poo-poo on tribal.
We're just figuring it
tribal,
out.
and
yeah.
tribal can be very powerful once you have a critical mass. Like, all they have to do to make Toko good again in the Japanese meta
Print more virtuals.
is just in the 10th set print a bunch of virtual cards that are meta relevant. Boom, Toko is a threat. That Elric is really good and does something that most decks can't do.
Mm-hmm.
So all it would take is just turning up the notch a little bit on them, right? They get a little bit more support, and suddenly that deck becomes very powerful.
Yeah.
So
throwing down the gloves on that one.
Yeah, man, you need to look at it and be like, critical mass, where am I at?
Yeah.
Right? Demons aren't there yet, but they will be in set 4.
Ooh. Upcoming future stuff.
That's all we got.
That's all we got for today. We really appreciate you guys listening in. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and look forward to Wednesday's video with a little bit of a unboxing of set 3. I hope to see you there.
Yeah, join Team Andrew.
I mean, you can join Team Andrew. That's fine.
Okay, we're both in agreement to join Team Andrew on this one.
I'm Team Andrew.
Oh, I'm Team Andrew too. I'm glad we have that in common.
All right. Please make sure that you always flip a life burst, and we will see you guys next time.
See you guys.